Thanks for co-hosting, Howie G.
You're welcome, Howie C.
Be on in a second. Welcome, everyone. As usual, we'll wait a few minutes to let the bulk of you drop in. Oops. Catherine, good to see you. Peter, what a treat. Great to see the rest of you equally, although some of you a little, and Rosanna. Wow, blast from the past. How great. In a moment, I'll have you unmute and say good evening, but we'll just hang out a second. Okay, once again, welcome everyone. If you haven't been here before, double welcome. If you have, welcome back. And as we do each week, I invite you to unmute, say hello, say where you're calling in from, and so we can hear each other's voices and at least have a measure of what it feels like to be together in an in-person setting. We have Sherman.
Hello all, Mill Valley.
Hi, Dale, welcome.
Thank you.
Another Howard, British Columbia.
Hello, Howard, glad to see you.
David from Burlingame.
Hey, David. Hey, Frank and Rhonda. Great to see you at the picnic.
Yeah. Rebecca in San Francisco.
Where was San Francisco?
Rebecca.
Oh, hey, Rebecca, welcome.
Mary from Santa Barbara.
Hey, Mary.
Isabel from Pacifica.
Hey, Isabel.
Jason from Connecticut.
Hey, Jason, with his name spelled wrong.
Hi from Maryland.
Hi, Laura.
Hi from Los Angeles.
Hi, Ellie or L? I couldn't see.
Elle.
Yeah. Hey, welcome, Elle.
Thank you.
Glenn from Palm Desert, California.
Hey, Glenn, welcome.
Mitchell from Tucson.
Where's Mitchell? Let me find Mitchell. Wave your hand, Mitchell.
Hi.
Oh, there you are. Good to see you.
June from San Francisco.
Hi, June. Welcome.
Samira from Phoenix.
Hi, Mira, wherever you are.
Oh, Samira.
Oh, Samira, right, of
Hi.
course. Remember you from last week.
Yeah. Hello.
Welcome.
Lanny and Barbara from Tucson.
Oh, great. We have a Tucson contingent tonight.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Mitchell is here with you. Hey, Dan.
Dan from San Rafael, good evening.
Dan always has the best light. He bathes in light.
Michael from New York City.
Hi, Michael. Welcome. Glad you're with us.
Stuart from San Francisco.
Hello, Stuart.
Hello,
Welcome. Anyway, glad you're all here and glad we can support each other to unplug a little bit from, as I like to call it, from the stream of distress. And at least, even if there is a stream of distress that arises as we're sitting here, we can make that shift from being carried along by it to noticing it. And noticing that each presently arising experience that we notice becomes an experience that is workable, that then liberates itself, that nothing has to be done about anything that we notice. Nothing has to be undone, nothing has to be fixed, nothing has to be figured out. This is the one time where you are, in a way, validated for doing nothing, going nowhere. If anything, we could call it settling back into the moment. And why I use that expression is because the typical stream of distress is all about toppling forward into an imagined future where either our relief or our danger or success tends to lie. And to the degree that we're toppling forward into that imagined future, we're missing the available source of peace and ease that exists within us, as the natural state of our mind. It's just open, empty, quiet. So this is our chance to use whatever it is that we notice to remind us of our love of this moment, this experience that I'm having, knowing that whatever experience I'm having is the right experience, because that's the experience that's calling me to this present moment. So in order to have that quality that in Pali is called sati, mindfulness, clear comprehension, sampajanya, in order to have that, we have to have a little bit of calm. And calm depends somewhat on our mind, our attention, and our body being in the same location. That's why we always, the Buddha recommended, the one thing that leads to calm, to focus, to a pleasant dwelling in this life, and then ultimately to liberation, is mindfulness directed to the body. So let your eyes close softly. And just notice what we experience as our attention turns inward, as we're a little bit more secluded, alone in our body, alone together with each other. And as we feel more intimately our body, it stops being this idea, but a field of sensations. Shape and form, aliveness, pressure, an elemental experience. Heavy, hard, it's the earth. Cool, warm, fire. Cohesion, the water element. Breath, vibration, the air element. And as you notice the sensations of the sitting body, as you melt away all lines of separation between attention and body, and you just experience body fullness. There's an inevitable stilling without trying to be still. There's an inevitable quieting without trying to be quiet. We try to keep our mind in our body, and our body in our mind, so that there's no separation. And then in support of this calm abiding foundation of sati, mindfulness, we let ourselves notice and feel the body's experience of its own breathing, making no effort to struggle with the breath or direct it or control it or manipulate it, but just letting it flow the way it does. But intimately feeling it. Short breaths, long breaths, rough breaths, smooth breaths, deep, shallow. We connect and we sustain through the duration of the in-breath and the out-breath. And with each breath, we let go and let it be. Let the body breathe itself. And we let this be the center of our practice, the primary anchor to this present moment. And we sustain our attention to the breath as long as it lasts. And sometimes there will be other sense experience that will call our attention, sounds. And we just welcome the sounds as they come and go. There may be moods, there may be thoughts and images. Everything welcome, but we just let them come and let them go. Our practice is to not get involved in the content of whatever's happening. Just see everything as changing conditions like weather. Just this breath, just this moment, just this sense experience that may come. When we realize we've been lost or completely absent-minded, that moment of realization is a moment of mindfulness coming back online, an opportunity to reconnect with the body, breath, or whatever sense experience is calling us. No other agenda other than to notice the presently arising experience, just this moment. Just this being aware. remembering that mindfulness's sole function is to notice the presently arising experience. It has no other agenda, no problem solving, no fixing, no figuring out, just noticing. So if there's a noticing of trying to make something happen, this is noticing greed in the mind, and create tension. If there's a noticing of some resistance, trying to get away from what's present, this is just aversion in the mind, just to be noticed. Your mind is personalizing experience, talking about me and mine. This is delusion in the mind. Simply to be noticed. Nothing to do about it, nothing to undo, nothing to fix or figure out. Just being lucidly aware. And seeing what unfolds. Supported by each breath. The experience of letting each breath come and letting each breath go. Beautiful modeling of letting go. Just this moment. whatever you're experiencing right now is the right experience. Even if it's a litany of worries, crowd of sorrows. We're happy not because it's pleasant or unpleasant, or we like it or don't like it. We're happy because we're aware of it. Just this moment, just this breath, or whatever is predominant. in the last few minutes. Stop meditating. Just being mindful. Stop being a meditator. Just be mindful. Real pleasure to sit with you as always. Thanks for your practice. Thanks for supporting each other. To take a few minutes to take some time for any questions, concerns, descriptions, topics may have emerged from the practice, hopefully not too theoretical. Isabel, please feel free.
Hi, Howie. It's so good to be back. I really am patting myself on the back for sitting the whole time, and you're every once in a while dropping in and saying like it's okay wherever I'm at, because at the end I got this big laugh grin on my face because I literally felt like a little mouse running in a hamster wheel. My whole body, but I'm good. It's all okay. I'm glad to be back.
Glad you're here. Anyone else? Rosanna, please feel free.
Mute myself. What she said, and as you know, it's been a long time, and I thought, oh, I haven't done this forever, and it just felt like it went by in an instant. It's crazy. So it just feels good to be back.
Great. If you don't mind me outing you, I remember you so well with a lot of fondness. But just to let everyone know, you may not remember this, but you brought me the correct attribution of a passage that I used to share that I would attribute to Walt Whitman, and it turned out that it was Thoreau, or I used to either one or the other. And so while you're with us tonight, I'll share the passage.
Funny, I did not remember that.
Yeah, that's okay. You did some research and you brought it. I'll tell you that for everybody else right now, I'll share the passage. And it was Thoreau, who I originally attributed it to Walt Whitman. And it's a reminder and I think really a part of the spirit of, part of the benefit of being here, how essential it is, especially right now when it's so easy to topple forward, as I mentioned. He said to remind ourselves, in his words, I am grateful for what I am and what I have. My thanksgiving is perpetual. It's surprising how contented one can be with nothing definite, just a sense of existence. Oh, how I laugh at my vague, indefinite riches, for no run on my bank can drain it, for my wealth is not possession, but enjoyment of being. So it's so easy in the stream of our life to associate our well-being with our bank account or our success or failure or what's happening in the world. But our true wealth is our existence. It's that simple. When we remember. Anyway, anybody else?
Howie, I think Stuart's opened his mic so he could speak, I think.
Okay. Stuart, is that true?
No, I actually just switched over from the computer audio to my phone.
Okay.
But I had a good meditation. It went by quickly. My mind being very busy.
Okay. Anyway, glad to hear you speak anyway. And clearly this is not Hollywood, so we get all kinds of extra sounds, etc. So anyone else, any comments, questions, topics that emerge from the sitting tonight? I'm always curious what you noticed. Okay. Stephen, last but not least. You have to unmute though.
Can you hear me now?
Can.
Thank you, Kelly. I have a nephew that I want his approval, and he doesn't have the space for me, and I want to let it go. That's it.
Well, what we accommodate here, what we practice here is accommodating the feeling of desire, feeling of longing. And we see that those experiences, they come and they go, and we can accommodate that feeling of longing. So we let those come and we let those go because they come and go. And then you don't have to be busy letting go of your nephew. I forgot, did you say your nephew?
My nephew, and I think it's wanting approval, which has been my pattern my whole life.
Yeah, so
I'm aware of that.
Yeah, so each time you notice that feeling of wanting your nephew's approval, you just feel it and let it turn into, feel the pain of that and then turn it into self-compassion if you can, into some gesture of kindness. So if you keep your focus on your nephew, you will be waiting a long time in a state of tension, in a state of hope, expectation, all forms of greed and resistance to the way things are.
And neediness, lots of neediness with that.
Well, and so just noticing neediness as neediness and let it keep calling you back to kindness for yourself in this case.
Very helpful. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Mary, I guess you popped up, so I can't resist. You have to unmute
I just wanted to thank you, Howie. I've been even with everything going on, like kind of in a positive resisting space, busy doing stuff. But today or the last day or two, I've really felt a lot of anger come up. I felt really angry about what's going on, and I'm just really happy to be here. I completely calmed down and relaxed, and I'm really grateful to be here. Thank you so
Grateful
much.
to have you here, and when that, of course, I'm happy that you calmed down. But sometimes what happens when we calm down is the anger comes fully to the surface, or the grief, or whatever it is, and so part of the calm is to make space for that whole array of different feelings that may come, including, as Stephen was saying, the neediness or the desire for approval. All those things have more room and can liberate themselves if we make the space for them. And that's where calm is it's like the roots of the tree. It's how you keep watering that stability and calm, then you're able to tolerate things more. And when they also see the moments when they're absent, which is, I'm happy that you experienced tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. So as Mary was mentioning the world, well, actually, I think before I launch into my stray thoughts, I thought, since most of you are still here, that I would do the announcement now for the half-day retreat that's coming up on Saturday, 9 to 1 at the San Francisco Dharma Collective. It's all in that newsletter that allowed you to sign on. But initially we made it to be just an in-person event, but now I've made it hybrid. So come one, come all. I don't do these that often these days. So if you'd like to sit together, and there's just nothing juicier than having a sustained period, and for those who are in person to have an in-person period. It's just such a delicious thing to do. And it's particularly, the topic is, and I'll allude to it a little bit tonight, but the topic is, what is the topic? It's something to do with, there may not be peace in the world, but each of us can be at peace with the world. It has to do with not so much what's happening in the world, but even though whatever we can do to alter the way things are is great, but what's most important for our well-being, and it turns out for the world, is for us to stay balanced and be at peace with the world. And that part is very negotiable, very possible. And if nothing more, for a few hours, we can actualize that feeling of sensing that the world may not have changed during that time, but we can change. And we're doing that in every moment, depending on where we incline our mind. And so that'll be that day long. And maybe tonight will be a variation on that theme. I was thinking today that the way we calculate, there are 7 days a week. There are 24 hours a day. So there's all that time to deal with the world, to find our place in it, to react to it, to engage with it, to be active, to rail against it, to be angry, as Mary was saying. And I see this Tuesday evening that's 1.5 hours in the span of all those hours in the week, where the emphasis is on knowing that there is within us a place of peace and ease, a place of connection with love. And this 1.5 hours is all about both knowing that's there within us, how to actually actualize it, how to connect with that, and then how to hopefully be inspired to stay connected to that, even as the rest of the 7 days a week and the 24 hours you are totally engaged with the world. And then, of course, to expand that capacity to carry that sense of the heart, the sense of compassion, the sense of wisdom that lives in you as you, to carry it for the rest of that time. But at least this is a time that we can access what's so easy to forget. And, there's lots of time for things that take time, like healing our planet or engaging in activism of so many sorts that it seems so necessary right now. There's lots of time for that. But the truth is, at least it seems to me, that the time for the timeless, stepping out of time, we may devote 5 minutes to, at the most, in the span of a week. And so coming together with the support of each other and remembering, accessing, and then hopefully expanding that experience so that even as you do the things that take time, that you have momentary access to the timeless. That you're at any moment in the span of your day that you're stepping out of time. So what do I mean by that? Last week I talked about it as just one access point, is noticing at any time, anywhere, after your last thought has stopped and before the next one comes. Notice that in that interval, there is a clarity. There's a vividness after the last thought has stopped before the next comes. And part of that vividness is just the reality, is the presence of awareness. How long did that take? And what's the feature of that moment? There's clarity. There's no, where is the past then? Where's the future then? Where is the story of myself then? Where is even my ideas of the world then? In that moment, something in us relaxes. We have returned to the source of love in us, to the nature of our mind, which is the nature of heart. It's the same thing. And it takes no time. It just takes that flash of remembering. So is it not true that this, at least I'm assuming, that this feeling that one has when there's a little bit of quiet after the last thought has stopped and before the next one comes, that whatever that cessation, whatever that fading away momentarily of distress, because where is distress in that moment after your last thought has ceased and before the next one comes? Isn't our heart's desire to have relief from our distress? So if we really want a break from our distress, we can have it. See, I have an agreement with myself and hopefully with you. You wouldn't keep coming if you didn't have it. You weren't in on this a little bit. That at least at some place in the span of our time together, that we do away with the past and the future, that we put it aside. And just even saying that is a reminder that the past is just an idea and the future is another idea. So I have a commitment to remind myself and hopefully you and you, we participate in stepping out of this. Well, the way it's talked about in the traditions, it's stepping out of the 3 times. We step out of past, we step out of future, but we also step out of even the present we see as another idea. We just enter into tata, the word in Pali, it's into the suchness, into things as they are. Just life, minus all the words. And all of this is so that we can remember that if we want to take a break from distress, it's there for us. If we want to connect with love, with compassion, it's there for us. In spite of what's happening in the world, today I stumbled on, even though he's not seen favorably anymore because he behaved badly in some way, but the marvelous, very famous poet Pablo Neruda, in his poem, he was encouraging this break in the stream of distress. He said in his poem called Keeping Quiet, he says, "Now we'll count to 12 and we'll all keep still. For once on the face of the earth, let's not speak any language. Let's stop for 1 second and not move our arms so much. It would be an exotic moment without rush, without engines. We would all be together in a sudden strangeness. Fishermen in the cold sea would not harm whales, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. Those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, victory with no survivors, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade, doing nothing. What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it's about. I want no truck with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. Perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I'll count to 12, you keep quiet, and I will go. So how relevant is that right now? People who prepare green wars, wars with gas. And it seems also relevant because I keep talking about when we step into life, when we step out of time into direct experience. Why I keep referring to it as stepping into the heart, and the heart of compassion is captured so beautifully by Thich Nhat Hanh when he, in his poem called Call Me by My True Names. Do not say I'll depart tomorrow, because even today I still arrive. Look deeply. I arrive in every second to be a bud on a spring branch, to be a tiny bird with wings still fragile, learning to sing in my new nest, to be a caterpillar in the heart of a flower, to be a jewel hiding itself in a stone. I still arrive in order to laugh and to cry, in order to fear and to hope. The rhythm of my heart is the birth and death of all that are alive. I'm the mayfly metamorphosing on the surface of the river. I'm the bird which, when spring comes, arrives in time to eat the mayfly. I'm the frog swimming happily in a clear pond. I'm also the grass snake who, approaching in silence, feeds itself on the frog. I'm the child in Uganda, all skin and bones, my legs as thin as bamboo sticks. And I'm the arms merchant selling deadly weapons to Uganda. I'm the 12-year-old girl, refugee on a small boat, who throws herself into the ocean after being raped by a sea pirate. And I'm the pirate, my heart not yet capable of seeing and loving. I'm a member of the Politburo with plenty of power in my hands, and I'm the man who has to pay his debt of blood to my people dying slowly in a forced labor camp. My joy is like spring, so warm it makes flowers bloom in all walks of life. My pain is like a river of tears, so full it fills the 4 oceans. Please call me by my true names, so I can hear all my cries and laughs at once, so I can see that my joy and pain are one. Please call me by my true names, so I can wake up, so the door of my heart can be left open, the door of compassion. So we start this act of love, which is stepping out of the stream of distress, of stopping, noticing after our last thought has ceased and before the next one comes. And in that space, we bathe in sanity, we bathe in kindness, the kindness to ourselves, first of all, to actualize our heart's desire to have peace. Everybody wants peace. And then to offer that to all beings. And it's a tough assignment to offer it to the seeming perpetrators of the myriad of perpetrators of suffering in this world. But from that place of wisdom and compassion, we can see that the perpetrators just are not yet capable of love, not capable of wisdom. And they're not able at this point. And hopefully in our heart of hearts, we can wish them for their hearts to open so that they can also feel compassion. So I'm a one-note Johnny. That's why I repeat the same thing every week, is because I get the message. I feel so helpless. I don't know what to do. I'm just getting angry and frustrated. What greater gift to the world than being that example for yourself, first of all, of kindness and love, compassion, peace, and then to offer that to others. There really is is no more accessible social action other than that spreading, being an example of goodwill and spreading it to others. I belabor again a quote that I use from Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj, where he said, "The world is the way it is because people are the way they are. And as long as people are the way they are, the world will continue to be the way it is. That if we want a peaceful world, we have to have peaceful people. It's not something that can be imposed on the world. It has to start in each of our hearts." So that's my commitment each week, is to be, at least to remind myself, remind you, have all of us join in a 1.5 hours in the span of this big week. And then hopefully, as we talked about last week, because I'd had the good fortune of being in the London Underground where they say, mind the gap, that if we can just keep dwelling in that gap, it will get wider and wider and wider. And we will, as the Buddha recommended, if we keep our mind connected to our body, inevitably the byproduct is calm. The byproduct is a pleasant dwelling in this very life. And why I say the only function of mindfulness is to notice, that sounds pretty simplistic. It's that if there is that continuity of noticing, it has amazing byproducts. One, it unleashes our good hearts. Two, it's imbued with wisdom. We can then see things and we naturally know what to do. So that's why it's so important to get out of the stream of wanting things to be otherwise, resisting what is. Even in our formal practice, we don't get into a struggle trying to make the breath right. We just let the breath do its thing. Just have our mind in the same place as our body. And the byproduct is there's calming, there's stilling. There's a more pleasant dwelling in this life. Not because we made it happen, because it is a returning to the peace and ease that is the natural peace and ease of our nature. Let's see if there's anything else I wanted to. So I said that this is kind of the timeless, the timeless hour, you could say, when we step out of time, but also included our instructions. And of course, one of the instructions that the Buddha gave us, and we don't just deal with the timeless here, we deal with things that take time, and it takes time for us to reverse the conditioning, to go against the stream of so much ill will and so much reactivity in our hearts, so much frustration, so much of wanting things to be other than the way they are, which seems so natural and so human, but it actually keeps us tense. And so even in the formal practice, when we're trying to make something happen, there's greed in the mind, it creates tension. When we're resisting what's showing up in our practice, that's aversion in the mind. That creates tension. It's considered a poison for our sense of well-being. So we also have practices that take time, that are gradual. And one of those practices, it may be the intrinsic nature of our heart to love, to be compassionate, to care. But it's also something that we can cultivate, that we can grow. And so one of the forms of practice that the Buddha recommended that we grow is that practice of loving kindness again and again and again. So I will, as I often do, because it's such a regular reflection for me. I always like to pass on whatever I'm doing for myself. I'll read the Metta Sutta, and then we'll call it a night. This is what should be done by those who are skilled in goodness and who know a path of peace. Let them be able and upright, straightforward and gentle in speech, humble and not conceited, contented and easily satisfied, unburdened with duties, frugal in their ways, peaceful and calm, wise and skillful, not proud and demanding in nature. Let them not do the slightest thing that the wise would later reprove. Wishing, this is where the practice comes in, wishing in gladness and in safety. May all beings be at ease. Whatever living beings there may be, whether they are weak or strong, omitting none, the great or the mighty, medium, short, or small, the seen and the unseen, those living near us and those far away, those born and to be born, may all beings be at ease. Let none deceive another or despise any being in any state. This takes practice. This is a fierce practice. Sorry for the editorial. Let none through anger or ill will wish harm upon another. Even as a mother protects with her life her child, her only child, so with a boundless heart should one cherish all living beings, radiating kindness over the entire world, spreading upward to the skies, downward to the depths, outward and unbounded, freed from hatred and ill will. Whether standing, walking, seated, or lying down, free from drowsiness, one should sustain this recollection. This is said to be the sublime abiding. By not holding to fixed views, another fierce practice. By not holding to fixed views, the pure-hearted one, having clarity of vision, being freed from the dependency on sense desires, is not born again into the cycles of suffering. So, because the Metta Sutta tonight, it really kind of lit up about how important it is to put aside, to be free from ill will, hatred, not wish harm upon another. I thought that instead of ending with the Metta Sutta, I would end with another passage that has been very meaningful to me from Sam Keen, who's a theologian and psychologist. And this came from his book called Faces of the Enemy, because we're all building an enemy in our mind right now. Anybody familiar with that feeling? It's pretty common right now. But this book, he shows how hatred, propaganda, warfare heed a hostile imagination. He urges us to find an alternative to the idea of redemptive violence and the warrior mythology. And as expert, he discusses what we might do to counter our tendencies toward cruelty and revenge. He says to lessen the quantity of cruelty and sadism, which you see, and it's just shocking, you see in the world. To lessen the quantity of cruelty and sadism, we must learn to listen to the cry beneath violence. The victor must hear himself in the victim's cry. The winner feel himself in the humiliation of the loser. So long as we can visit pain on another, we need not feel our own pain. Anger lifts depression. For a time, purging our rage on a scapegoat relieves us of the feeling. But the need for the cleansing of the unacceptable feelings builds up, and we must plunge into a new circle of violence. The only certain way out of the blind ritual of war is by learning to substitute grief for anger. Those who mourn the childhood love they never had, who treat their own wounds tenderly, learn to forgive and to break the vicious circle of the wounded and the wounding. When we're unable to confess that our own parents, our government, our own styles of life have disappointed and injured us, we will inevitably create an enemy on whom we heap our anger. Every day we are not grieving is a day we will be taking vengeance. So of course we want our politicians to hear this, but in the meantime we have to hear our own cries, hear our own grief, feel our own anger, and let it remind us of that tender heart of sadness. So may all beings be liberated, may all beings grow in loving kindness, may all beings grow in wisdom, may all beings learn to hit the reset button, step out of time, and know that peace is available in any moment. So thanks for listening. So just a very brief announcement. Howie G, I'm gonna relieve you of the necessity. Just again, a reminder of the half-day retreat. Come one, come all. You can sign up for it. I think all the information's in the chat, I assume.
Yeah, but you may want to just go to the original email that you got, and this way you can register. You can get the address and all that good stuff too.
And then the last but not least, the way we have sustained ourselves is through whoever is taking this seat to offer their practice of generosity and sharing teachings, and whoever receives the teachings offers their form of generosity in the form of financial support, and that wheel of generosity has kept us alive. And so please feel free to practice generosity, what we call dana, and thank you in advance for your generosity. You all know the drill, and I really do appreciate your support, and Mission Dharma appreciates your support. So thank you, and feel free to unmute and say goodnight to each other. Great to be with you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Howie. Thanks,
everybody.
everybody.
Thank you, Howie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night, Howie.
Good night.
See
you, Howie.
Thank you. Good night.
See you Saturday, all of you, of course.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Night, night.
Thank you, Howie.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Howie G, for co-piloting.
As ever, I'll be in Washington this weekend, but otherwise.
Sorry to miss you. Hey, Noemi, I'll see you on Saturday.
Yeah. I'm bringing food, people.
Yeah, snacks. Thank you.
Bye.
Great to see you, Peter, on Tuesday night.
Bye, Howie.
Good night. See you, Seema. Katie.
Good
Carol,
night.
good to see you again so soon.
He said,
Helen, etc.
he said, good to see you, Peter. So
And Catherine too. Except you were out of the screen. You were out of the screen for a moment, Catherine. So I'm glad.
Well, that's because I put some corn on the grill. I can't see us.
You can't. I can see you.
Well, that's good, I suppose.
You're in living color and really nice to see you.
Hi, Annie, too.
I'll tell her hello for you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.